Friday night hangout. Woo! I'm super excited to welcome you to our first episode in this beautiful, amazing April. And this month, we're going to be talking about new beginnings and fresh starts. Yes, you know that this is the beginning of the second quarter of 2026. Yes, you got it. So we want to be sure that you know how to reset your goals by ditching old habits, setting new intentions for the month and for the quarter, and we got you all revved up and ready to go. So tonight we'll talk so much about how to reset your goals and all of this. So stay with us, and I'm super excited to welcome you all to this amazing time. This is also almost the Easter period, so there's a lot happening. I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who has stayed tuned with us, the Friday Night Hangout tribe, right? This is Friday Night Hangout. If this is the first time you're joining us, and I'm your host, Joy Onyeso, and I want you to know that I love, appreciate, and celebrate you, and I don't take your participation in the Friday Night Hangout for granted. So if you've not subscribed to our channel, our YouTube channel, Friday Night Hangout, please, it's an opportunity to hit that subscription button. And then, of course, you can also subscribe to the Power Woman TV and keep following us. If you want to watch previous episodes, this would also be the space to do that on Power Woman TV and also on the Friday Night Hangout. So, what is one habit you know you need to let go of to grow this month? I want you to think about it. You know, we talk about setting goals, becoming new, changing lifestyle, and all of that. But I'm just asking you to think about just one habit you know is no longer serving you. You need to let it go. Now, while you're thinking about it, I want you to write it down. April is a season of renewal. It's an opportunity to reset after Q1, which is quarter one. And so tonight, stay with me as we discuss how to reset your goals, ditch old habits, setting new intentions for the month or quarter, and making sure that you achieve all that you have prioritized for this month. But before we go further, I want to ask you to use the hashtag TGI, hashtag Friday Night Hangout with Joy Onyeso. Please don't forget to use that. And don't forget to turn up your notification button on either Power Woman TV at the YouTube channel or Friday Night Hangout YouTube channel so you get notifications when we go live. So use the hashtag FNH Joy Onyeso. Now I want you to really reflect. You know, I asked you, what is that one habit you want to let go of that is not serving you any longer? Now, when you reflect, it helps you to see and understand where you're doing well, what you need to leverage, right? What you need to let go of. It helps you to understand your patterns. You get to become more self-aware. And one thing I've seen over time is the more self-aware you are, the more the chances of you achieving your goals. So when resetting your goals, clarity is very, very key. So as we have this conversation tonight, I want you to take note of things that come up for you. I call the aha moments, right? Some of the things will be validating, some of the things that would be new to you, some of the creative juices that will be released on things you never thought of in certain perspective. When you write them down, write them and write what comes up for you. That's one way to remember and feel the energy when you go back to read the book or to read your notes and all of that. So it makes sense and it's easier for you to run with it. Now, why do we need to reset our goals? One of the reasons why we need to reset our goals is because our priorities change. The you that woke up this morning will not be the same you that will wake up tomorrow. You know why? Every day we evolve. When you engage with people, when you engage with situations, you grow, you expand, your perspectives shift. And sometimes the dynamics of just being alive and going on your life journey also changes priority for you. So you want to review, reflect, and be sure that that goal you're pursuing is still very relevant in your life. Then sometimes we set very unrealistic expectations, and we may not know that the expectations we set for ourselves are unattainable, they are unrealistic until we start doing. So when you start doing, when you get your hands into the actual work of trying to achieve that goal, you start encountering some obstacles, some new perspective, right? And then you say, oh, this is too much. I may need to unpack this a little bit and take it one step at a time. Now, another thing that, another reason that may be why we need to change or reset our goals is lack of clarity or lack of structure. Now, lack of clarity, when you do not really know, sometimes we jump into things, we start doing, and while we're doing, we're getting clearer, understanding comes, and we say, wow, I shouldn't have done this. This is not for now. I need to achieve this first, right? So a number of things will come through for you. They become clearer. And when they become clearer, then you know you need to reset those goals. And then sometimes you look at the structure that you have, what you want, especially if you're an organization or you're a personal brand, and you start doing certain things. Oh, I can't attain this. I need 1, 2, 3. I may need to go back to doing this, which becomes imperative that you need to reset those goals. So don't be hard on yourself. Life happens, and life is a learning journey, meaning that there is no shame. Open your mind to the fullness of life, to the fullness of the dynamics that comes with living every day. You sleep, you wake up, new perspective, you engage with people, your mind is expanded, your horizon is expanded, and then of course you need to reset those goals. So don't cast things in stones and say, oh, I cannot do that. You want to be flexible to it to an extent, right? So you're able to pivot, adapt, and move along, right? Now, how do we ditch old habits that limit growth? But before we go into that, what are some of these habits that limit our growth? Because with goals, the more you achieve your goals, the more you grow. And for all of us, we want to grow in some way or the other, right? The growth potentials or the growth direction may be different for all of us, right? Now, procrastination. Ooh, that's one habit you want to ditch. You don't want to bring procrastination into your Q2 or into this beautiful, amazing April. No, you want to leave it behind. Then inconsistency. Not being consistent. Today you're black, tomorrow you're red. You set targets for yourself. I would read 20 minutes every day. Sometimes you don't even read for 3 months. You don't read for 4 months. Then you jump in and do 2 hours. Sometimes you want to start exercising. Oh God, call me out on that one. And you exercise for 1 week and then you go off again. And then you come back after 3 months. My dear, you want to ditch inconsistency. Then there's what we call fear-based avoidance. When you find yourself avoiding certain issues, avoiding to do certain things, and you interrogate why you find out you don't want to do that, it may be lack of capacity, lack of adequate knowledge or skills, right? And you find out fear can also be a contributory factor. So this month and this new quarter, we want to come prepared. We want to deal with things that limit our growth from a positive perspective. We'll do all that we can to expand ourselves and to grow one step at a time. Now, don't you go anywhere. Stay right here with me. We're going to take this break. And when we return, we're going to be talking about how we can set clear and intentional goals in ways that align with our value, align with who we are, and make it easier to achieve our goals. So see you shortly. Don't touch that. welcome back. And that was the She Speaks Summit 2026 ad. And this is me inviting you. Use the link in the comment section. You won't regret being part of the She Speaks Summit 2026. For those who have been attending, you know the value that we get, right? Some of what we're discussing here tonight and even much more are things that you get to have a robust conversation on at the She Speaks Summit, aside even the networking and all the other hands-on coaching classes or sessions that you participate in. So now we're talking about setting clear intentional goals, either for April or for quarter 2, right? Now, the more specific and realistic your goals are, the more achievable they are. So you want to set goals that are very clear. You want to set goals that are very realistic, taking into cognizance your context, taking into cognizance your situation, right? And you want to be sure that you are building. I love using a layered approach, even in terms of setting goals. You don't just jump from A to Z. You want to do things and take them in, in an incremental space. You do this, you achieve this milestone, you get into that. You don't want to do everything at the same time. And then also you want to be sure that you're aligning your goals with purpose. What is your purpose? If you don't understand your purpose, then it's difficult to have goals that align with that. And you have, a misalignment happening there, which can cause some tension, some pull, and what do they call it now? Some tension actually, and you find yourself, struggling to meet up with your goals because showing up becomes difficult. Remember, we talked about some of the limitations to growth as inconsistencies, right? So sometimes we're being consistent because the goals you set for yourself doesn't align with who you are, doesn't align with your values, doesn't align with your purpose. So you want to be sure and ask yourself critically, who am I? Why am I here? Purpose. What am I called to do? Purpose. What happens as a result of what I do? How do people get served? How do people feel the impact of what I do? And then ask yourself, so what are the goals? What do I want to achieve? What are the things, my aspirations, right? And then you break all of this into actionable steps. You want to take it one step at a time. If you cannot unpack it into actionable, so why we call it actionable is that you can take action on them. You can put it into action. You can implement it actually. So when you find out that you cannot implement it, then you need to go back to the drawing board and try to fix it and ask yourself, how can I unpack this into steps, one milestone after the other. Now you want to stay accountable and consistent in all of this. You want to build daily discipline. Now, instead of you to do something or do a task or show up once in 2 weeks and you don't get to do it again for another 2 weeks or 2 months, it's better you build in daily discipline where you take 10 minutes. Bring out time blocks for what you want to achieve. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, depending on the goal you've set for yourself and the actions that needs to follow. It's better you practice daily discipline, doing one small aspect of that goal at a time than trying to do a whole lot and getting overwhelmed. Now, whatever is worth doing is worth doing well. For you to do it well, you need to track your progress. What you say you will do, is that what you're doing? And if so, what are the results you're getting so far? Do you need to tweak it? Is it moving in alignment with what you thought? Or are there things or are there gaps you have seen that you need to work on, right? And while you're on this, have a supportive system. When I hear people say, oh, there's no one I can trust, then there's a problem even with you because you can't be the only good one. No, it's an error. There are other people who are trustworthy, credible, and good, just like you are, but you need to find your tribe. So invest time in finding your tribe because your tribe, that supportive system, will enable you to achieve your goals. You would have people who would hold your hands, walk you through, have people you can lean on when you get tired. You're not meant to do life by yourself. So these are critical things you want to think about when you're setting your goals or you're resetting your goals. And then when you're thinking about habits you want to teach, having an accountability partner is very important, and staying consistent is also very key. Now, I always say this, that the Bible book of Habakkuk 2 says, write down the vision, make it clear, so that whoever reads it may run with it, and that includes you. So for whatever it is you have decided to do that is laid in your heart, can you get a journal for Q2 and write them out clearly? When you find yourself running into problems and articulating what it is that is in your head, then you know that you need to get more clarity on that thing. So once you cannot unpack it into writing and reduce it into an articulate form, then there is an issue with understanding, with clarity, and you need to work on that first. Once you have clarity, it's easier to reset your goals and set goals that are feasible, that are attainable, and are relevant to the future you want for yourself. Now, remember I asked you, what is that one habit you want to ditch this new month or this new quarter? Now I'm asking you again, what is one goal you are resetting or you're starting fresh for this month? Okay, take time out to write it down. You can write it or you can put it in the comment section, and we will all read and share with you. Thank you very much. Now, when you're thinking about goals, remember, goals is something you want to achieve, your future aspirations, the results you want to see, and keep it within your area of priorities. The more specific your goals are, the easier it is for you to achieve. Recall, I think that was 2 episodes ago, we talked about SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and what? Time bound. Now, in summary, we've been discussing about setting fresh goals or resetting your goals. And I'm telling us tonight that resetting is part of growth. So don't feel bad if you're at the point where you've looked at it, you felt you set unrealistic goals, or you're feeling overwhelmed, or priorities have changed, and you need to sit down and reset. That's fine. Go back to the drawing board and do that. Clarity leads to consistency. If you're not clear and you don't have a complete understanding of what it is you're doing or what you want to achieve, it's difficult for you to show up. It's difficult for you to be consistent. So you find yourself avoiding it, maybe because you don't understand, maybe because you lack the structure, maybe for fear, so many reasons, right? But you want to be sure that you have a good understanding of what it is you want to do. And that will enable you to prioritize and take actionable steps. Now, consistency produces results. There's no way you will do something over and over again. You pay attention, you will learn, you relearn, you unlearn, and you go back again to doing it. You wouldn't grow. You will see the result. So I'm encouraging you to write down your new goals for April or the goals you want to reset. Identify one habit you want to eliminate. And what is one immediate step, actionable step you want to take right now, moving forward? Write it down. Remember, when you write it down, it becomes clear, and all who reads it, including you, will be able to run with it. So I want to thank you all for staying tuned with me. Thank you for being loyal to the Friday Night Hangout. I appreciate the Friday Night Hangout community. And I also appreciate the team that makes this happen, working behind the scene. Thank you all so much. And because by the time I'll be coming back, Easter will be over, permit me to wish you a happy Easter. Happy Good Friday is happening today, right? And this is when we are all in that very deep, reflective mode. Very soon we'll come into the joyful celebration of the resurrection. We encounter the risen Christ and we become transformed as a result of encountering a risen Christ. Let the resurrection of Christ be that opportunity for you to start afresh, to reset. Yes, you can't go wrong, and give yourself 1,000,001 opportunities to reset if you need to do that, okay? Now, next week, we're going to be talking about building a business that brings you joy, finding purpose in entrepreneurship, and creating a business that aligns with your passions. So you don't want to miss next week's episode. Follow JOCC, that's Joy Uniso Coaching Calls, on all platforms. Share this replay. Invite someone next week. Subscribe to the Power Woman TV. And I look forward to seeing you all next week, Friday. Enjoy your holidays. And remember to smell the roses. Take one actionable step on that goal you're setting. See you next week, Friday. Bye for now. This is Friday night.